It has been, as you would expect, another picture-perfect day weather-wise here in San Diego as the Reds try to get even in this series, having lost here last night by a score of 2-1. Tonight, the Reds and the Padres on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi and a pleasant good evening, everyone. Along with Chris Wells, this is Jim Couch, and welcome on this Bowtie Tuesday to Reds Baseball. Tonight, the Reds, with this rookie rotation, have another opportunity to show what they are all about. They make, with this one tonight, 13 straight starts by a rookie, 59th this year. Chris, when you look back at the work they've done recently, it really has gone well.
It really is impressive. And I think what one of the motivators is that the guy before the next guy pitches real well, so you've got some internal competition among these youngsters. You don't really know how many spots are going to be open next year, but they are taking nothing for granted. They're going out and leaving it all on the field right now, and I've been very impressed with each and every one of these guys when they take them out.
Well, one of them, of course, going tonight, and that'll be Michael Lorenzen. He was the former #1 pick, who was a pitcher and outfielder, of course, at Cal State Fullerton. Things haven't been going overly well for him as of late.
Well, a few bumps in the road, no doubt, and I think a lot of those bumps in the road have to do with control and command, and this is what really comes hand in hand when you've got a young pitcher. Sometimes you really don't know what you're going to get from start to start. And I think sometimes for Michael Lorenzen, it might be a mental blip out there that allows him to get off of sync. And other times, I think he just is not experienced enough pitcher to command his fastball the way he can. But he's got a great arm, a nice, repeatable delivery, and I think his best pitching is yet to come.
Now for the Padres, they have a rookie going as well. A young man, in fact, making his major league debut tonight, Colin Ray.
Well, he pitched in 3 different schools in college in 3 different years, one of those being Indiana State. He comes in here after starting the year in AA, went to AAA, big, tall right-hander, throws in the low 90s, got a nice cutter and a curveball. We'll find a little bit more about Colin Ray as the night goes on.
He's a native of Cascade, Iowa. We'll tell you all about Cascade, Iowa when we get into the broadcast. All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, Jim Day has more on the memorable swing of Jay Bruce.
Is brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. and by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Beautiful Petco Park here in San Diego. I'm Jim Day, just outside of the Reds dugout. Jay Bruce made it to the major leagues at a young age, and he was hitting home runs early and often and continues to hit home runs. He's the subject of our IGS Bringing the Energy. These are Reds hitters with 200 home runs in the first 8 seasons with the franchise. Adam Dunn, Frank Robinson, Hall of Famer Johnny Bench, and now Jay Bruce after last night hitting career home run number 200. Unfortunately, it was the only offense last night. But Bruce sent it out to right field, barely got over the wall, and as we showed you during the game, Padres fan trapped that ball, caught it, and after the game agreed to give the ball back to Jay Bruce after a meet and greet. Bruce saluted him in the field, then after the game, met for some pictures and had a good greeting. Talked to Jay about it earlier.
I told him that I really appreciated him being, so willing to give the ball back, just because I've heard stories about and, seen stories that, not that 200 home runs is some special, especially from me. I mean, right. But there have been some situations where, guys are more reluctant to deal, I guess, if you will. And, I was happy that he was so willing to just give it back.
200 and counting. Bruce hopes to make it 201 tonight behind some quality starts from some youngsters. We'll see what Michael Lorenzen has. Up next, lineups and first pitch with Jim and Chris.
Last year they were swept here. They start this series with a 2-1 loss last night. So Brian Price and his club tried to get things going in the other direction tonight in the middle game of this 3-game get-together. Take a look at the starting lineup for the Reds, presented by Meyer. Brian Price puts forth this one. Brandon Phillips, Skip Schumacher, Joey Votto, the top 3. The middle, Todd Frazier, Jay Bruce, and Ivan DeJesus Jr. getting the start at shortstop tonight. Tucker Barnhart will do the catching and bat 7th. Michael Lorenzen pitching 8th. Billy Hamilton in center field. He will bat 9th. Then on the mound for San Diego, I would bet he's a little nervous out there, Chris, making his big league debut.
Well, normally when you make your major league debut, you certainly are nervous, but you come up through the system as quickly as he has in the last couple of years, and you may think, well, maybe my stuff is good enough to compute up here. He started in Double-A. He finished in Triple-A with about 6 starts down there, coming off one very good outing his last time out. Colin Ray, a young man that is from Iowa. He went to Indiana State University, 6 feet 5 inches tall, 225 pounds. Not overpowering,
but his command of his fastball is the reason he is here now in the major leagues and not toiling in the minors.
Just 4 years after being drafted out of Indiana State, as Chris mentioned, he makes his big league debut tonight. And his first pitch is in there for a called strike. This game, number 111 for the Reds this year, is underway. 75 degrees game time temperature here in San Diego as Brandon fouls this one back, and he is quickly down 2 strikes. Starts the game at 284. Hit last night, one of only 4 the Reds picked up. He had a single in the 7th. He also walked twice, so on base 3 times last night. Phillips to be followed by Schumacher and Votto here in the first. Ray 6'5", 220. We mentioned out of Cascade, Iowa. Where in the world is Cascade, Iowa? Right between Dubuque and Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Dubuque, of course, part of the Quad Cities. There's a line drive in the center and a good start for the Reds. And Phillips, he is now hitting 4 in a row and 11 of his last 12 and a base hit. Take a look at San Diego defensively. Behind Ray, brought to you by your Ford dealers. They line up like this tonight. Justin Upton in left. Will Venable center. Matt Kemp right field. Solarte at third. Amarista the shortstop tonight. Jerko at second. Yonder Alonso, the former Red, is at first. Hedges gets his second straight start behind the plate, catching Colin Ray. Skip Schumacher gets the start this evening out in left field. His 25th start of the year and his first since, well, I'd say about a week and a half ago or so against the Pirates at home, where he also was out in left field. He's been pinch hitter extraordinaire this year, batting out of the 2 spot here in tonight's game with Votto bumped to 3, where he was last night as well. Even with a bag at third is Solarte. And now Schumacher gets ahead, 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, there really should be no reason why the Reds ought to be over anxious at the plate. Let the young man who's making his major league debut be nervous and anxious, not the Reds hitters. So be very patient. He does not have the type of stuff that's going to blow you away. He doesn't have one of these trick pitches that gets a lot of strikeouts. Even his minor league numbers, very modest strikeout numbers.
Phillips takes off, and that's ball 4. So the first 2 Reds have reached. A base hit by Brandon. 5-pitch walk to Schumacher.
Well, normally when you get the first 2 runners on base when you're in your major league debut, young guy, you're nervous, you get a strip to the mound from your catcher. Now, Austin Hedges has caught him quite a bit. Hedges is only 22 years old, so he's come up through the minor leagues as well. He knows Colin Ray a little bit. I imagine Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, might be on the balls of his feet, ready to make a trip out there. If he doesn't get ahead of the next hitter here, and he's got a very tough one in the box in Joey Votto.
Yeah, this Padres battery both started the year in the minor leagues. Ray at AA San Antonio. And they had Phillips there at second. That was going to be awfully close, but the ball bounces away. Brandon gets back in there.
Got a very quick move to second base. That much we already know. The shortstop Amarista sneaks behind, and that throw is right there. If Amarista is able to grab that ball, Phillips is picked. So maybe you shorten up the lead by a half a step, and the Padres don't try that again.
Just foul past first base by Joey Votto. Talking about Ray and the fact that he's from Cascade, Iowa, near Dubuque. Dubuque is right on the border between Iowa and Illinois. Eastern end of Iowa, western side of Illinois, if you can picture that in your head. Cascade, Iowa, population just over 2,000. Could be a double play ball. There's 1, there's 2. Nicely played by Ray on that comebacker right to the mound.
give him a little lift right there, no doubt about it. It is nicely played. He's already shown himself to be a pretty good athlete because the way he's got that quick pickoff move at second base, he nabs this ball back to him, turns it into an easy double play. Didn't rush his throw through a nice feed to Amarissa, the shortstop. Boy, this is an inning when you got a pitcher on the ropes, first and second, nobody out. Maybe the Reds can get a base hit here, at least get a one crooked number on the board, and doesn't look like that's going to happen.
First pitch swinging Frazier. He'll fly out to right to Kemp, and the Reds, who had the pressure on, 2 on, nobody out, leave a runner at third here in the top of the first. In this series, although they did face him earlier this year back in June in Cincinnati. He pitched pretty well in that game. Take a look at the lineup that Michael Lorenzen will face tonight, presented by their manager Pat Murphy. They have Solarte, Alonso, and Kemp as the top 3. Justin Upton, the cleanup hitter, then Jed Jerko and Will Venable. The bottom 3 include Austin Hedges, Alexi Amarista, and the pitcher batting 9th, Colin Ray. Michael Lorenzen gets the start tonight, number 17.
Well, the record really 3-7 ought to be a little bit better than that because he's pitched better, but he has had some problems with getting the ball over the plate when he needs to.
Walks have certainly been an issue for him. 51 of them in 89 1/3 innings at the big league level.
But I wouldn't be too discouraged at all. I mean, after all, Michael Lorenzen is going to make another start in which he is younger than the pitcher that he faces. In fact, he is 2 years younger than Colin Ray, a young man making his major league debut tonight. So Lorenzen just 23 years old. He won't be 24 until next January. He's got a lot of growing to do, and he's come a long way in a very short time.
Yeah, I don't think anybody out there thinks that what he is putting up as of late is what we're going to see in the future from this guy.
Well, and it may not be next year, and it may not be the year after that, but you do expect a little bit of progress. You know, not every time you go out, but as you go along. And the main thing is this, you know, when you're in the major leagues, you've got to have one pitch that you can throw for a strike whenever you need to. And that comes with repetition. It comes with experience. It comes with knowing your own delivery a little bit and making constant adjustments as the game goes on. And he'll get that. Very talented athlete, has his ears wide open all the time. And, you know, whether he ends up as a starter or reliever down the road, we never know. But they're giving him a really good look here at as a starter.
Well, he'll try to make a quick adjustment here in the first inning as he walks the leadoff man on 4 and now delivers this one to Alonso, who cracks it out to right center field. Billy Hamilton will run that ball down, and hustling back to first is Solarte. Yonder Alonso hit a grand slam against the Reds in Cincinnati. Made a bid there for an early 2-run home run here.
Well, Yonder doesn't hit a lot of home runs. He's more of a gap hitter and a singles hitter. He gets a whole bunch of this one, unfortunately for Alonso, and fortunately for the Reds, Billy Hamilton. runs it down and makes it into a long, easy out.
So the batter will be Matt Kemp. Kemp last night, a single in the 4th inning prior to the 2-run homer by Justin Upton. It turned out to be the difference in the game for San Diego. Comes in at 255 with 11 home runs, 60 runs batted in. One of 2 Padres, along with the man on deck, Upton, who has 60-plus RBIs. That one hit hard into center, will move the runner Solarte along. So Kemp now is hitting 5 in a row. Always hit well against the Reds, and he's continued that here. Take a look at the Reds defensively. Brought to you by your Ford dealers. Here's how they line up tonight. Schumacher in left, Hamilton and Bruce in center and right. The infield is Frazier, DeJesus at shortstop tonight. Suarez getting the night off. Phillips and Votto on the right side. A battery of Lorenzen and Tucker Barnhart. Here's Upton. Upton starts the game at 252. The home run last night is 20th of the year. And also his 15th in this ballpark this year, which ties a Padres franchise record for home runs in a season here at Petco. Cole holds that mark now with a man who is playing center field tonight for San Diego, Will Venable, who hit 15 2 years ago. Missing just low, and now it's 3 balls and a strike. And here's Lorenzen, a pitch away from loading the bases with a second walk in this inning.
Well, here in this situation, you don't try to overthrow it. You take your best pitch. In Lorenzen's case, it's a fastball, a two-seamer. You take a little bit off, you throw it down in the zone, and you let it go. And you see what happens right there. He's got enough movement on his ball to get a good outcome out of this. They tried to trick him with a little slider and misses ball 4. It looks like early on that the Reds are trying to really mix the pitches up for Michael Lorenzen. You know, a lot of breaking balls early on. He went curveball, then fastball to Matt Kemp that gave up a base hit. He walks a hitter on a 3-1 count, you know, on his 3rd best pitch. This young man's in the major leagues because he's got a golden arm. It's time to use it.
Gets himself behind the 8-ball early in this game. Faces the bases loaded for Jerko. Hits the first pitch, a fastball over the heart of the plate into center. Couple of runs are going to score. That throw is way offline by Billy Hamilton. Not that it was going to get the runner Kemp anyway. And the Padres break out early with a 2-run single in the center by Jed Jerko.
Well, again, Jim, you know, here they come after him and they're trying to trick him. Here's a slider on the first pitch. He just hangs it right up there. There's nothing wrong with throwing a first pitch breaking ball, but it has to be a pitch that you really got a good feel of, that you can make a quality strike with. He has yet to get grounded and establish his fastball. It's like a football team establishing the running game. Michael Lorenzen throws 95 miles an hour, and he's behind 2-0 because he's trying to force all of his secondary stuff in the first inning.
Reds gave up 2 runs in the game all of last night. Have given up 2 in the first. Now with 2 on, 2 in, and 1 out. The batter is Will Venable. Comes into the game at 257 with 6 home runs. Venable last night hitless in 4. Reds lost last night, put them at 12 games under the 500 mark. It's their low water mark of the year. 49 up, 61 down, and they've lost 6 of their last 7 in this ballpark. And now it's 2-1. Lorenzen trying to get on the winning side of things for the first time since June the 21st, when he won at home against the Marlins. Closing in on 2 months. Not that he hasn't had a good start since that time. Had a good start in Detroit. He had a good start in that victory against Miami. He had a good start down in Miami. Boy, the last 4 have been a tough go for him.
You know what we've seen out of Michael, really, I mean, compared going all the way back to spring training, is the fact that when he took the mound in spring training and he was pitching in short bursts, as you do in spring training, his fastball was anywhere from 95 to 98 miles an hour. And now he's sitting around 92. And you're wondering, you know, maybe he's a little fatigued.
Hamilton on the run. Hamilton will dive and make the catch of that ball. He has absolutely saved Lorenzen here in the first inning. Running to the wall in right center on the ball hit by Alonso, and now diving for this one in left center on the ball hit hard by Will Venable.
Big league defense already here by Billy Hamilton. I mean, coming out of nowhere. He's already shown Lorenzen he can go to the wall. Here he just comes out of nowhere and makes that ball. Just outruns the baseball into the left center gap.
Michael has not been able to get a routine out yet in this game.
This is the kind of outfield, it's a big outfield, that a center fielder like Billy Hamilton really excels. And you really appreciate how much ground he can cover.
Well, we saw him do it last night. We've already seen him do it 2 times here in the first inning tonight. This is Austin Hedges, the young catcher. He played last night with Derek Norris over at first base. Norris getting the night off tonight. Hedges catching again. By the way, this Padres club has added another Norris to their roster today. They signed Bud Norris, the pitcher, but been released by Baltimore. Hedges is going to drive in a run with a base hit. Coming to the plate is Justin Upton. Over to third goes Jerko. And a 3-run first for San Diego. Jeff Pico goes to the mound to talk with Lorenzen now. Talked about earlier the fact that Lorenzen did make a start against his Padres team in the middle game of that series back at Great American Ballpark on the 6th of June. And in that one, he left the game with a 7-3 lead after 6. Reds ended up losing that one in extra innings 9-7. He allowed 3 runs and 6 hits in 6 innings in that game.
You know, the important thing for Michael Lorenzen right here is not to look at the big picture. Don't worry about the 3 runs that are in. You've got to get yourself convinced that you're only in control of pitch by pitch. The only thing that you can control right now is your delivery until you release the pitch. So whatever pitch you're going to throw, fastball, breaking ball, whatever it is, have complete conviction in it and throw it to the best ability you can. And then from there on, you can't worry about it. But you can't think to yourself, uh-oh, here we go again. I've had 4 bad starts in a row. I don't know what I'm going to do. Are they going to send me down? You know, those are all the things that seep into your mind that create noise that keep you from being successful. He's got the stuff to be successful, and he will be. But he can shortcut it with the right mental attitude.
Dealing now with their shortstop, Alexi Amarista, the 8th man to bat in the inning. Didn't play last night. He's hitting .207. He is their primary shortstop, although we did see Clint Barmas in the game last night.
You know, as we mentioned, Jim, earlier about his fastball has decreased speed throughout the course of the summer. I mean, that last one is 91 miles an hour. Lorenzen, when he first starting here early in the year, was throwing 95 as an average. So, you know, he's learning how to pitch with somewhat pedestrian stuff. now that that fastball is down in the low 90s instead of the mid 90s. And that's not an easy thing to do for a 23-year-old.
Maybe wondering regarding his innings pitched. He threw 120 innings last year. He's at around 110 or so now, so he shouldn't be wearing out yet in terms of innings pitched. Here's hopefully a routine out, and it is. It ends the inning, but a big one for the Padres to get this game started here tonight. They scored 3 times against Lorenzen. Brought to you by Elk and Elk. How about Padre pitching against the Reds here as of late at Petco Park? 6-1 in the last 7, as we mentioned earlier. Starters, very good, a 1.23. Overall, a 1.00 ERA. That's the kind of pitching that'll get it done anywhere, anytime, against any team. Bruce will lead it off here in inning number 2. A home run last night, number 200 in his career, becoming the 9th Reds player in franchise history to reach 200. Jim Day had that nice piece prior to the game's beginning about Jay getting the baseball back from the young 19-year-old Padres fan who trapped that ball out there in right center field.
Well, the Padres pull a little Pittsburgh Pirates on Jay Bruce, flip-flopping the guys with 2 strikes and the shift.
Here's a look at the second baseman, Jerko, way out in shallow right.
No argument from Jay Bruce. He must have thought it was low enough to be a strike. Remember, the strike zone, the high part of the strike zone is defined as the halfway point between your belt and the top of your shoulders when you normally swing. Now, when Jay kind of stood up on that pitch, he may have accidentally or inadvertently raised the strike zone, and that's why he got rung up there.
So the first big league strikeout for young Mr. Ray. He'll deal now with Ivan De Jesus Jr.
You know, you go back to a guy like Pete Rose. Did you ever see Pete Rose stand straight up like that when taking a pitch? If anything, he's bending down more, trying to shrink the strike zone rather than enlarge the strike zone.
I recall about your former manager. He had those knees bent and he was crouched down the whole time, both sides of the plate.
I mean, I just bring his name up because everybody in Cincinnati remembers that batting style. And even if you weren't around when he played live, then, you know, I'm sure you've seen enough video of him to know that. But it's kind of interesting there because you can change the strike zone in the eyes of the umpire by the way you take a pitch.
Ivan DeJesus Jr. getting the start tonight with Eugenio Suarez being given the night off. This guy has started at 5 different positions for the Reds this year. Hits this ball hard. Look at that smooth pick by Amarista, the shortstop, throwing out DeJesus at first base.
Boy, the advantage of throwing strikes. Even when you get down the count, you fire a fastball in there, guy hits it right on the button. But you got big league defense behind you. Billy Hamilton flashed some glove, and Amarista does a nice defensive job right there. That's a big league pick.
You've seen Zach Cozart make those kind of plays, and now the Reds see it against them here. So with 2 out, nobody on, it's Tucker Barnhart. First pitch swinging. This will be a 1-2-3 inning for Colin Ray. Upton makes the play, and the Reds go in order in the top of the second. At the end of the first inning, bit upset right there.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm glad he's got emotion. You know what? The guy's got a lot of fight in him, and he's going to have some rough games, and he's going to have some really good games. But it's all a matter of adjusting. So you put the last inning out of your mind. You come out here, you got a clean slate. You start off with the opposing pitcher. You put him down. Here are the numbers that we were talking about as far as innings pitched. He rarely at all pitched in college because he was a closer. He does not have all that many minor league innings logged. There are really not all that many major league innings logged. But one thing you learn in the big leagues is that when you get into the heat of the summer, you really have to back off your conditioning programs. You don't have to go at it as hard as you do in the wintertime because really all that matters now is every 5th day.
Well, he's trying to get off to a good start here in the bottom of the second. He gets the pitcher, Colin Ray. 8 men came to the plate in the first, and from a pitch count perspective, Lorenzen threw 28 of them in the first inning, and that's really been the downfall for him. He's at 100 or so when he reaches the 5th inning most games. Home plate umpire tonight, that's Phil Cuzzy, Jerry Davis, Will Little, Tony Randazzo, his mates. Base hit by the pitcher. First big league at bat for Colin Ray, and he gets a base hit. What a big, big night for this 25-year-old. Don't throw that baseball out of play. He can't help but smile down there.
Well, what is it about pitchers making their major league debuts against the Reds? We're going to have to get you on the trail there of researching that out. It just seems like they have great games on the mound, and they also get some work done at the plate. Like the left-hander Matz from the New York Mets, who drove in, what did he drive in, 3 or 4 runs that game?
He had 3 hits and 4 RBIs.
Yeah.
Well, Ray did have a couple of hits this year in the minor leagues. His first big league at bat, a base hit. Michael Lorenzen has to be shaking his head out there saying, are you kidding me? Yangervis Solarte now bats with the leadoff man aboard. After getting ahead 0-2, it's now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Solarte in the leadoff spot, a spot that for the most part this year was occupied by Will Myers before he went on the disabled list for San Diego. Then Venable was up there, and now Solarte. Solarte's hanging in there against Lorenzen here in the bottom of the second. Led off the game with a walk. Later scored. Now drives one down the right field line. That will go to the wall. Ray approaches third, being stopped there by Glenn Hoffman. That's a double for Solarte. And the attack of the San Diego Padres club here early on against Lorenzen and the Red continues for Solarte, double number 24.
Yeah, the Padres are trying to turn their August around. They come into this month with a horrendous record, 7 losses already, but they are putting runs on the board. 3 in the first, on the verge of putting some more on the board here in the second as they now move into the middle of their order.
There is action now out in the Cincinnati bullpen. Right-hander is Dylan Axelrod. He starts to loosen. Yonder Alonso hit one to the wall in right center field his first time a ball run down by Billy Hamilton.
You know, when Lorenzen fires his best fastball and it comes up there at 92, it's got to set off alarm bells among the Reds pitching people. I mean, why is a guy gone 4 miles and 3 or 4 miles an hour less now than what he was earlier in the year, with less movement, less ride on his 4-seam fastball, and it probably comes down to he's no injury, he's probably just a little bit fatigued. So one of the options I would think that would be presented in the Reds meetings when they talk is maybe go to a 6-man rotation. They've got to protect innings on these guys anyway, and you get another guy in there and you give some pitchers like Lorenzen 1 extra day off so that they can recoup a little bit more.
Drive to left center field. This is going to get by and go to the wall. Ray scores. Touching the plate is Solarte. 2-run double for Yonder Alonso. Alonso's hit the Reds, his former club, very well over the years. He drives in 2 more here, and it is 5-0 San Diego.
Now yonder tried Billy Hamilton in right center field the first time and said, well, that didn't work. I'm going to go the other way. Split the seam to left center, and an extra base hit that clears the bases.
Give Alonso now 27 runs batted in, and for the second time in 2 innings, Jeff Pico to the mound. Last time out for Michael Lorenzen, he went 5, allowed 3 runs, 4 hits. That was at home against St. Louis. 3 starts ago, he allowed a career worst 8 runs in 2 1/3. That was that start out in Denver against the Rockies. And he is getting touched up mightily here this game in San Diego. Alonso's double is 14th. 5 runs, 6 hits by the Padres thus far. Here's Matt Kemp. Base hit his first time, giving him now a 5-game hitting streak. Another guy who's always done well against Reds pitching. Started this game over 325 at 327 against Cincinnati pitching throughout his career. '50th pitch now of the night for Lorenzen is in the dirt, and it gets away, and there goes Alonso to third. That'll be a wild pitch on Lorenzen. Infield in for the Reds. And an off-speed pitch. It has Kemp out in front. And that's the first strikeout by Lorenzen in this game, and the first out in the second.
Michael Lorenzen has a couple of different breaking pitches. One is a slider, one is a curveball. And he really takes a little bit extra off that one. He gets Matt Kemp out in front. Good looking pitch.
Reds infield now stays in as Justin Upton comes to the plate. Walked his first time. Upton a little bit later on this month will turn 28 years old. Longtime member of the Arizona Diamondbacks. A couple of years in Atlanta, and now here with the Padres.
Well, hard to believe he's only 27 years old. I mean, it seems like Justin Upton has been around for a decade.
Guy who broke in as a 19-year-old with the D-backs back in '07. He'll slice this ball out into right. That falls for a hit and a run batted in. Bruce will get to it, throw it, but not in time to second. The third double of this inning by the Padres. This one by Justin Upton, number 12 on the year for him. He gets RBI 63. The Padres continue to roll here tonight. Ryan Price out of the dugout. This is going to be all for Michael Lorenzen.
That's a pretty good pitch. It just ends in a bad way for Michael Lorenzen. You're living right when this ball falls in for a double. A single actually turned into a double by great hustle by Upton. I mean, he hit that first base bag and really put a burst of speed on.
Shortest outing this year for Lorenzen had been that 2 1/3 at Colorado back on the 26th of July. Erase that now. Michael Lorenzen goes 1 1/3 innings tonight, and he is out of this game into the Reds dugout. New man onto the pitching mound will be the right-hander Dylan Axelrod. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. We'll be back with more.
Called upon early, but he's back in a place, well, that he has a history with. Here's a tweet he sent out yesterday. He said, "The Padres drafted me in 2007. 9 seasons later, I finally made it to where I first envisioned myself. Not quite the situation, I'm sure, but Dylan Axelrod finally on the Petco Park mound."
Not in, Jim, you have to admit, the most ideal of situations for he or the Reds, but
he's in the big leagues. That's what it's all about, really, especially for a guy like Axelrod, who has, worked so hard to get himself back here this year to where he was last year. When the Padres signed him and drafted him out of UC Irvine, he was a reliever. Been a starter in the minor leagues for the most part, including this year with the Reds, down in AAA with Louisville.
He made some decent starts for the Reds in September last year. Though being injured in a game against the Cardinals, replaced by last night's starter David Holmberg. Oh boy, there's a bomb by Jerko. It's going to add 2 more to the Padres lead. And it is now 8-0. Seventh home run of the year for Jerko. The runner aboard up and charged against the starter Lorenzen. So the first batter that Axelrod, who was drafted by the Padres, as Jim talked about earlier, faces on the Petco Park mound, goes deep against him.
When you're facing a batter with short arms, very solidly built, muscular like Jerko is, that's a really bad spot to pitch it to.
I'll take your word for that. 3 in the first, 5 so far here in the second, and an 8-0 San Diego lead. Venable lined out his first time. That ball hit into left center field, and the diving catch by Billy Hamilton. Close the book on Michael Lorenzen. But that's a strikeout of Venable for the second out of the inning. 1 1/3. 7 runs all earned, 7 hits, 2 walks, a strikeout, a wild pitch, and 55 pitches for the 23-year-old right-hander out of Anaheim, California. Batter now is Austin Hedges. Catcher singled in a run into right center his first time. Now you look at it from the other side of things, for Colin Ray making his big league debut and an 8-0 lead. He's got to be taking a big deep breath in there saying, wow, I can't believe my good luck.
Well, yes, and that's one good thing going for him. The other thing is he's got to be able to stay concentrating on his job at hand.
Hedges to center. And the inning is over. But the Padres put up 5. And after 2, they lead the Redlegs 8-0. Saturday, August the 22nd, when the Reds honor Reds Hall of Famer, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer Tony Perez. Arrive early, witness the unveiling of the legendary first baseman's bronze statue and special on-field pregame ceremonies. Plus, the first 30,000 in attendance will receive a replica Tony Perez statue presented by La Rosa's. For tickets, 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/tickets. Dylan Axelrod bats for himself here to get things going in the third. One plate appearance this year was a sacrifice. He's 1 for 6 in the big league's lifetime. He'd like to do to Ray what Ray did to Lorenzen, get a base hit. Ray retired the Reds in order in the second. He set down 5 in a row since the first 2 reached on the base hit by Phillips and the walk to Schumacher. Talked about his quick rise to the big leagues, having been drafted out of Indiana State in 2011. This guy was a 12th round pick, so to get to the big leagues 4 years later is pretty good.
Really kind of an interesting story. When he got out of high school in Cascade, Iowa, he enrolled at
University of Northern
Iowa. And then after his first year there, they dropped their baseball program. They were $600,000, the athletic department, $600,000 in the hole. And they needed to look around and figure out a way either to make up the shortfall with donations or figure out a way to cut. So it was a baseball program that ended up being cut. The coach had to tell the team that they were going to cut the program after the opening day of the season before. So He was a freshman on the team, Colin Ray was. He ended up transferring from northern Iowa there down to St. Petersburg Community College in St. Pete, Florida. And from there he was seen by a 4-year Division I school, Indiana State. Pitched his junior year at Indiana State, was eligible for the draft, and that's when he was picked up in the draft in the 12th round by the Padres.
So he stayed in his home state of Iowa, then all the way down to Florida, back to the Midwest in Terre Haute, Indiana, for Indiana State, into the Padres organization. 2 out now for Phillips. 7 in a row set down by the big 6'5" right-hander Colin Ray. Guys back in the studio mentioned earlier that Colin Ray was in Cincinnati earlier this summer. He pitched in the Futures game, Great American Ballpark, back on the 12th of July. In fact, finished that game out for the U.S. squad, retiring the last 2 batters he faced, including a strikeout, last 2 batters of that game. Well, here he is facing the team that occupies GABP.
One thing to really watch here with the Reds, I mean, you know, you're down by 8 runs, but you're so very early in the ball game. You got a young man making his major league debut. Do you just roll over, or do you battle every at bat?
Venable right up against the wall, makes the catch. I mean, another foot, and that's a home run, but Venable stayed with it all the way. And that is 8 in a row now retired by Colin Ray.
California. I'm Jim Day. Well, a familiar face is at the ballpark earlier today. His son is playing in a baseball tournament tomorrow here in San Diego. Indeed, Dusty Baker, former Reds manager here, and I want to tell you, it was a parade of his former players coming up to greet Dusty. Dusty doing well, looking well, wanted to send his best to everyone on the crew and back in Cincinnati. And guys, he is staying busy. He's the president of the Baker Energy team. He has started an alternate energy company, and he also has opened Baker Family Winery. So he is in the wine business and the alternative energy business. He says, I just can't stay at home and just sit around and do nothing. He's been very, very busy, but he was a smiling face, and I'm telling you, all the players are really glad to see him.
The Baker Winery. Did you ask him if you could sample some of his products? I know you're a wine guy, Jim
You
Day.
know what? He said, I am going to send some to Rick Stowe. And Rick, if you're listening, we're on you. he said to share when he sends some.
He didn't say he's going to give it to Mark Stowe, did he?
He did not. He said he's going to send some to Cincinnati for all of us to get a little taste. Baker Family Winery.
We look forward to that. Amarista to left, handled out there by Schumacher.
Of course, I always considered wine alternate energy anyway. So maybe Dusty's onto something.
Or in your case, your main source of energy. No, it was good. I was down there and happened to talk to Dusty as well. I know Jim did, and I was with Mark Sheldon from MLB.com. We looked across the field and said, that guy looks like Dusty Baker over there. Sure enough, it was.
Got a keen eye.
Colin Ray, a base hit in his first big league at bat. Up there a second time now, this time against Dylan Axelrod. Axelrod gave up the 2-run homer to Jerko, and then retired the next 3 that he has faced. Tough outing tonight for Michael Lorenzen. 7 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks in 1 1/3 innings. It pushes his ERA up to near 5.5. Breaking ball drops in for strike 3. There are 2 out. As you enjoyed tonight's game, we'll try to make it enjoyable for you. Hopefully the Reds can do the same by getting back into this thing. We look forward to giving you a Miller Time moment of the night a little bit later on, brought to you by Miller Lite. Two out for Yangervis Solarte. Switch hitter batting from the left side against the righty Axelrod. Mentioned he's taken over primarily as their leadoff man. He's hitting .319 over the course of the last 5 weeks or so, and he gets a base hit here, his second of the game. Third time he's been on. A little seeing eye hit. Votto couldn't get it. Phillips couldn't get it. Right between the two of them and into right.
It looked like one of those that I think that Brandon Phillips probably had a better shot at than did Joey Votto. In fact, he's there going to field it right in front of him, but he got shielded by Votto kind of cutting in front of him and probably losing sight of the baseball. That's a case where maybe the first baseman just wandered too far off the bag. Got to remember, I mean, I know Joey's played next to Brandon for,
900 plus
innings,
games,
right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you forget how much ground he can actually cover.
Solid base hit. This one into right center. Hamilton cuts it off. That's going to hold Alonso to a single. Yonder 2 for 3. Solarte turned the corner, ends up at third. First and third with 2 out.
Boy, Alonso loves hitting Reds pitching, doesn't he? I mean, this guy was in a free fall as far as his batting average going down. He had a very good month of April and May, and it's been going down a little bit ever since. He was right in the middle of a slump until the Redlegs got to town. He had a pinch hit last night as he did not start the ball game, and he's hit the ball hard 3 times, has 2 hits to show.
Yeah, the Padres, prior to the Reds getting to town, had Philadelphia in here, and he went 1 for 14 in that series.
And the Phillies swept the Padres.
Yeah. Got to be happy, though, don't you, for former Reds manager Pete Mackanin, the job that he's doing there?
Well, they said that they came in there and there, wasn't much to lose. They came in loose, having fun, and they played like champions, even though they are far from it this year.
I mean, they're still talking about the Phillies 20-plus games under the 500 mark. But since Pete took over, they are 1 game under, and they have won something like 17 of their last 23, 24 games since Pete's been running that club. They are 16-6, the Phillies. 16-6 since the All-Star break. Reds finished with the Phillies this year. Full count now to Kemp. News today out of the National League Central Division. Doug Melvin, the longtime general manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, stepping down as their GM. He'll transition to an advisory role. Milwaukee has hired an executive search firm to help them find their next GM. Ball 4. That's been talked about for a while. Tomorrow on an all-new Reds Weekly, Red shortstop Zach Cozart working towards a return for a healthy 2016, and reliever Sean Marshall inching closer to returning to the mound. Plus, Brian Price speaks on the challenges and benefits of an all-rookie rotation. Brand new Reds Weekly with Jeff Piccaro and Doug Flynn hits the air tomorrow after the Reds and Padres series finale, and it's right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Ably produced as always by Ron Melanor. Padres get 3 in the first, 5 in the second, and threaten here in the third. Bases loaded, 2 out. Upton has walked and scored, doubled in a run and scored. So the Brewers fire their manager and have their GM resign all in the course of this 2015 season. Ron Renicky let go earlier, replaced by Craig Counsell. Now Doug Melvin steps down as GM. Second GM really in the last, 10 days or so to be out of a job. Dave Dombrowski of Detroit.
That was a little different move in Detroit. Dombrowski will not be taking over a job higher up in the organization.
Frazier misplays that ball. That's going to allow 2 runs to score. Ball to third, deflected by DeJesus. Diving to keep it in play is Frazier. 3-run score on a ground ball to third that should have been the final out of the inning. It is 11-0.
Well, let's just hope nobody gets hurt tonight. You make your first mistake then you realize, and you got it in between hops. You're in an awkward position. Then the relay throw comes in, and it probably would have had a chance to get the runner, except it was deflected by the shortstop DeJesus, nearly in the dugout. Frazier had a dive to save that ball from going in and down the steps.
2 errors on the play. An error on Todd Frazier, and then an error on DeJesus, the shortstop, when he deflected that throw in from Schumacher that allowed that 3rd run to score. Solarte, Alonso, Kemp all touched the plate, and it is 11-0 San Diego. All 3 of those runs go down as unearned. Pick on that short hop by Todd. Jerko is out, and the inning is over. An ugly one tonight from San Diego. Strongest fan photo. Use hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan. Just might be part of the upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. That's Ohio Data Strong Fan. We'll give you a fan of the game a little bit later on. First pitch swinging Schumacher. Amarista will throw him out. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Colin Ray. Here in inning number 4, he's now set down 9 red legs in a row. Joey Votto, the batter, looking to break an 0 for 14 drought. Hit that ball right back to the mound his first time. End result was a double play. Showed you this last night. It's very interesting. Votto, a 120 average in the month of August, batting average, but a 371 on base average. Despite the fact that he's in a slump right now, he still leads the major leagues in walks and on base percentage since the All-Star break.
Well, it just goes to show you what walks can do for you as an offensive weapon. I mean, here's a guy hitting like a pitcher, but he's leading the league in on-base percentage over that period of time since the break. And I'm wondering if maybe he's been walked so much that he doesn't come to the plate really ready to hit because he's been so used to looking for walks.
Hammers this ball, and it will be over the head of the center fielder, Venable. Bounces into the hitter's backdrop out in center. That's going to be a double, so that snaps the 0 for 14 for Joey Votto and gives him his 23rd two-base hit of the year.
Votto probably thought he hit this ball good enough, and he knows a home run when he hits one. He hits enough in batting practice that he knows when he hits them solidly, and he probably thought this ball was going to be out of here. Slow curveball that he had to provide all the power. Plus a big ballpark, doesn't carry like it does back home.
He was coming dangerously close to his career worst of 0 for 16. He did it back in 09. He was 0 for 14. Snaps that with a two-base hit here. Only the second Reds hit. Ends a streak of 9 in a row retired by Ray. Now the Reds got to get Frazier going. Lied to right his first time to end the first inning. He's now 0 for his last 10. 1 for his last 22 and 2 for his last 35. And that average is dipped now all the way down to 255. Solid contact there that will get the Reds on the board by Todd Frazier. Votto will score, and it's 11-1. Frazier's 69th run batted in.
Two well-struck balls back-to-back, and there's really no reason why the Reds ought to take it easy on Colin Ray just because he's got his major league debut and an 11-run lead. That lead now is 10 runs, and you might as well get up there, work them hard, and get yourself into at least a mental position where you're up there playing the game as hard as you should if it was a 1-0 ball game. Grinded out at bat for Votto. Good swing by Frazier. He needs that.
Frazier, the National League leader in doubles. He now has 31 of them. Let's hope that's the start of good things for a while for Todd Frazier, because really we know that since the break things have really been tough for him. Bruce took a called third strike his first time. '59th extra base hit. You saw the graphic there for Todd Frazier, but his first in the month of August, first since the latter days of July.
That's the same pitch that Jay Bruce was rung up on his last time on a fastball right at the very top edge of the strike zone.
It'll move the runner along as Bruce hits into the shift and is thrown out there by Amarista, the shortstop, on the right side. And the batter will be Ivan DeJesus Jr. DeJesus brings a hitting streak of sorts into this game in that he has hit in 7 consecutive games in which he has started. Talked to him today, said he's really looking forward to going to Los Angeles, where his big league career began some 4 years ago.
Got to be excited about that. Really does. Ivan's been very impressive since he's been here. He had a nice spring training, kind of came out of nowhere. No one gave him really much thought because Christopher Negron was really the guy in spring training that impressed everybody, and he stuck with the ball club right out of the gate as a utility infielder. He has since been sent out, and DeJesus has come on. You know, for a guy like DeJesus, it's always going to be a battle. There's always somebody else in camp trying to take your job, maybe 2 guys. Irving Folu is another player that came into camp, had a very good camp, and is having a really nice season at AAA. But when you get the opportunity, that's when you have to shine, and so far he has done that.
Both he and his dad make their big league debuts as Dodgers. His dad, of course, many years ago. Foul tip off the bat of the Red shortstop, according to Phil Cuzzy. DeJesus Jr. is out. The Reds settle for 1 at the top of the 4th inning.
Far here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. We continue to track it's been an amazing story of Sean Marshall coming back from shoulder surgery. He's on the road trip with the team, and today he threw his 3rd bullpen And I have never seen a guy so excited about throwing a bullpen. He's finally throwing every pitch. Breaking balls. Brian Price out there looking on. He says the ball feels as good as it ever has coming out of his hand. Threw about 40 pitches today and, quote, went very well. And he was smiling ear to ear. The plan is to have him pitch a bullpen every third day and probably at least 2 more bullpens before he faces live BP. Who knows if he'll get on the mound and pitch competitively this year. But again, just the fact that he is able to throw off the mound and has the possibility of pitching again competitively is a terrific story.
Now, we saw the big smile on Sean Marshall's face, but what about in the background with Brian Price? And you mentioned, Jim, that he was sitting there. He looked as pleased as anyone.
Well, there's before this Cueto trade, there's a lack of lefties in the system. And when Manny Parra was out, they had one lefty down there in the bullpen. And Brian Price has been around with Sean Marshall. And you guys have been around Sean Marshall. He's as likable a guy as you will ever meet in the big leagues. He's one of those guys that you just root for. So on a personal level, whether he gets back and pitches for Brian Price or not, just personally happy for the guy.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Brian pushed a little bit today as to what the timetable was, and Jim said he'll throw a bullpen every 3 days, but he would not be backed into a corner as to say when he might face batters, when he might get into a simulated game situation. Would not be pressed on that at all. Said, hey, we're just going to take it very slowly. Every third day he'll throw a bullpen and we'll evaluate it after that. So it's good to see him out there again today. That means he'll throw another one, I guess, in Los Angeles. Walk to Venable, the 4th given up by the Reds in this game. So Axelrod now works on the catcher, Austin Hedges. Bruce, a long run, and he can't quite get to it. Good effort by the Reds right fielder.
A lot of foul territory in this ballpark, especially down the right field line. So many of the ballparks that have the stands so close to the outfield lines, you know, the outfielders, corner outfielders don't have a chance to run into foul territory trying to catch those balls. Bruce had a long way to go.
Pretty close at Great American, but just thinking about it as you mentioned that, Chris, there's nothing as close as there is Wrigley Field. I mean, there's like 6 inches or so, a foot over there at the most. This Padres club, 11 runs, 10 hits tonight. They won last night over the Reds here, 2-1. Another hit for Hedges, his 2nd of this game. He had a hit last night as well, plus a walk. So he's been on base 4 times now in this series.
Hedges is going to see his batting average skyrocket after tonight. He came into this ball game hitting in the 180s. He's had 3 other ball games this year in which he's had a couple of hits. 13 hits and 71 at-bats coming in.
Schumacher has this one measured, and Skip will make the play for out number 1. Just looking back, last time Axelrod followed Lorenzen to the mound was that game late July out in Denver at Coors Field, when each of them, Lorenzen and Axelrod, allowed 8 runs in that game. Lorenzen 8 2 1/3, Axelrod 8 1 2/3.
Well, you would have to bring that up.
Lorenzen allows 7 tonight and 1 1/3. 4 given up by Axelrod, but 3 of those unearned in that double error play off the bat of Justin Upton in the 3rd inning.
I just got to figure that watching Michael Lorenzen pitch tonight and the stuff that he was throwing is nothing what he was early in the year. And the Reds are probably going to do something. I don't know what it would be. Maybe alter his workout procedure between starts. Maybe give him an extra day of rest. Maybe skip him the time in the rotation. You know, there are a lot of options out there when you've got a young pitching staff. Because you don't owe any of them anything. And you can use this as an opportunity to see how you think your pitching staff is going to size up next year, because what you do during the regular season in the major leagues is far, far more important than whatever you see in spring training. And when you do it in August and, you know, and not as a September call-up, it's even more important than what you do as a September call-up and you get 3 starts at the end of the year. You know, you can be fooled by a lot of that.
Lorenzen is listed as the probable for Sunday's finale against the Dodgers against Zach Greinke. This should end the inning on the pop-up. Phillips will make the play, and the Reds hang a 0 against the Padres for the first time tonight here in the bottom of the 4th. Diamondbacks, August 20th through the 23rd. That's at Great American Ballpark. Thanks to Reach Savings Magazine, you can catch the action and save with a 4 for $48 ticket offer. For only $48, you can get 4 view-level tickets plus 4 exclusive Reds hats. For tickets, 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/4 for $48. 4 inning totals in this game: 11, 11, and 0 for the Padres, 1, 3, and 2 for Cincinnati. Not a good night tonight at all for young Michael Lorenzen, who's knocked out in the 2nd. Tucker Barnhart will lead things off. Pitcher spot on deck, and it is Axelrod. And then Hamilton.
Hey, Colin Ray has shown a nice arrangement of pitches. Not an overpowering fastball. I mentioned early on that the reason he's in the major leagues now is because all of a sudden his command of his fastball has gotten a lot better this year.
That's a fair ball, and that's going to be extra bases into the right field corner by Tucker Barnhart. He gets the 3rd double of the game for the Reds of their 4 hits. A leadoff 2-base hit.
looks like that's a changeup that Ray tries to go to the well again. He had Tucker Barnhart way out ahead of the last pitch. He threw that one down, though. It was a really good one. Follows it up with a hanger.
Tucker broken 0 for 17 with a base hit on Saturday against the D-backs. He gets the double here. Now it is Axelrod. Talking about the Dodgers, news comes out of L.A. today that Howie Kendrick goes on the disabled list. Their second baseman, whom they acquired from the Angels in the offseason with a hamstring strain. They call up a young man whom they just acquired in that 3-team trade right near the end of July trading deadline. Jose Peraza from AAA Oklahoma City started in his first big league game last night. That veteran middle infield, Jimmy Rollins and Howie Kendrick, broken up now with Kendrick going on the DL.
Yeah, Kendrick having a nice season, batting up around 300. Had driven in almost 50 runs so far and on base 34% of the time. So we'll see what happens to the Dodgers, but they have plenty of firepower.
Justin Turner also on the disabled list, a young man that got into professional baseball years ago when he was drafted by the Reds and really has done a nice job for them the last year and a half. Hamilton trying to get that run in from third. Billy grounded out to the shortstop his first time.
And Colin Ray would like to keep that runner at third base, but he's not going to get any help from the Padre infield. They're going to play it back and give him the run if Billy can get the ball on the ground. Look out.
Right by the ear of Colin Ray and on into center field. A base hit for Billy Hamilton. Give him his 25th RBI, and it is 11-2.
Well, Ray's getting a few pitches up, and that ball, by the way, was past his ear by the time he got his glove up. So very fortunate for the Padre pitcher that ball did not have a notion to go a few inches to the right.
Darren Balsley goes to the mound, the pitching coach of the Padres, to talk with Colin Ray. In 8 days between starts. Mentioned earlier, Chris talked about the fact that he had a very good start his last time out at AAA Reno. 7-inning effort, albeit in a loss. Pitched on the 3rd, pitches here on the 11th, so a few extra days off for Ray. Hard hit by Phillips. That'll get on into center field. His second hit. Look at Hamilton motor quickly around second and over to third. No doubt about it that he was going to move up. 3 hits now in this inning, and 5 of them now in the last 2 innings for the Reds. The batter will be Schumacher. Skip has walked and grounded out. Votto waiting on deck. Skip gets under this ball, and Venable will drift to his left to make the catch. Tagging is Billy Hamilton. He will score, but a 2-run inning for the Reds, and it is now 11-3. So give Schumacher his 10th RBI. Odrisamir Despaigne, whom we thought was going to start tonight, but has been relegated to bullpen work by this Padres team, now starts to throw in the San Diego bullpen. Actually made a start against the Reds back in Cincinnati on June the 7th. That was the only win of that series for the Reds. Despaigne suffered the loss. Joey broke an 0 for 14 his last time up with a base hit. It actually dipped under the 300 mark again at 299 at the start of the night, and out of the top 10 in the league in hitting. Leads the league in walks, third in the league in on-base percentage, tied for the league lead in multi-hit games. Called out on strikes. Fourth by Ray. Reds get a couple. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Meijer, find more for a healthier you at Meijer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking third in the country on U.S. News and World Report's Best Children's Hospital. All Padres tonight. They lead 11-3 as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. Trying to hang a fifth straight loss on the Reds in this ballpark. Broken bat off the bat of Alonso, and Hamilton will make the play. And that is out number one. Reds have not won here in San Diego, as they won 4-1 on the 31st of July, 2013. Homer Bailey won that game. Chapman saved it. Trying to snap a 5-game losing streak in this ballpark.
Well, these wins are tough to come by here, unless you have Johnny Cueto starting. Last 2 seasons, Padres and Reds, the games that Cueto did not start. Padres are 7-0. They're up by 20 runs over what the Reds have scored, and they have hit 12 home runs. So Johnny, the equalizer, no longer available.
Glad you brought Cueto up, because I wanted to ask you about comments that Brad Ausmus, the manager of the Tigers, made today after Cueto thoroughly shut his team down last night in Kansas City about his motion being illegal, him stopping in his delivery. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we talked about it off air, Jim, before the ball game, and we have not really heard very much about that. I heard some rumblings about that early on when Johnny first started doing the speed up delivery, and there's a lot of gray areas in the baseball rules, and not all the rules are written all that cleanly, as we've already demonstrated yesterday, talking about that extra inning loss in Phoenix that the Reds had the other day. But I don't think there's really much to the Cueto complaint by Brad Ausmus. However, down the road, I'm sure that baseball is going to have to address that, because you're going to see, once Cueto's kind of opened the door to the rocking chair, the Louis Tiant turn, and then the rocking of his shoulders, and then forward, and then next pitch you have a quick pitch. I think you're going to see pitchers pushing that type of envelope more and more, and at some point they're going to have to make an interpretation that umpires are going to easily be able to enforce. I'm not sure where that's going to go yet, but I think eventually they're going to have to talk about it. What do you think?
I think Schumacher's going to make the play on this ball, or Hamilton. It's going to be Billy who makes it. We'll talk more about it when we come back in the 6th inning. There's the Padres go in order in the bottom of the 5th.
Diego, I'm Jim Day in deep center field, and a lot of unique things out here, including a sand pit and a picnic hill out here. And what's interesting about this is you can sit here on this hill and look into the stadium and see it live, but also on the side of the stadium is the batter's eye, but on the backside is a jumbotron like big screen where they have the San Diego Padres broadcast on it with audio. So you can not only look into the stadium and see the game live, you can see it on TV here out in the picnic area. So it's a very unique part of the ballpark. And I got to tell you, very cool. Although I'm the only dork in a suit picnicking out here.
Well, that's all right, Jim. I mean, I'm sure that if you went over to a family that, had already laid out a blanket or maybe having a little popcorn or concessions, they would invite you and probably treat you like part of the family.
I don't know. They're looking at me rather strange right now.
Well, most people do that anyway, Jim, so don't take that seriously.
Yeah, there's some people looking at me like, what the heck is this guy doing?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this where you took your shoes off and went walking around in the sand last year?
I just had to call someone off here.
Well, does that guy want your autograph?
No, he does not want my autograph. I think he's just trying to get on TV.
He's offering you a Bud Light Lime.
He does. Bud Light Lime. Correct. This is the place. Yes, Tom Brenneman had me take off my shoes and in a coat and tie get into the sandbox, and I have never had people look at me more strangely ever in my life.
Where is the sand pit, by the way?
The sand pit is just beyond the outfield, the home run wall here. So
okay.
There it is.
There.
Yeah.
There it is.
I was in there last year. And
it's your area, Jimmy.
It might be the last time. You want to talk about weird looks from parents now.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
All right, boys.
Frazier with a base hit, so he's 2 for 3 and a good start to the 6th inning for the Reds.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a turnaround for Frazier. I mean, he has hit the ball, right on the button each of the last 2 times up. He couldn't buy a hit over the last week, and hopefully this is a little bit of a turning point tonight.
Well, after getting only 1 hit and having 2 base runners through the first 3 innings of this game against Colin Ray, the Reds now have 6 hits in the last 2 innings plus a batter. Action out in the San Diego bullpen. Bullpen's located out in left center field, basically staggered out there next to one another. Despagne, the right-hander, continues to throw. Pat Murphy, manager of this Padres club, making his way to the mound. And young man Colin Ray out of Cascade, Iowa. His major league debut is complete. He'll get a nice hand. In fact, he gets a standing ovation from this crowd here at Petco Park after the job that he did here tonight. Ray leaves. Despagne is on for San Diego.
Well, Jim Day's been busy honoring Gary Templeton, shortstop that played for the Padres after he was traded from the St. Louis Cardinals, and Benito Santiago, former Red and former longtime catcher for the Padres. A couple of good ones right there. That is some serious work.
You bet it is.
And now I know why Jim Day is so sunburned on his face, because he was out all day long, probably without any hat or sunscreen, and just doing a little work of art out there in the sand pit.
Yeah, they just had last weekend that Hall of Fame induction here. Santiago and Templeton go in. Bruce now against Despaigne. Leadoff base hit by Todd Frazier. Bruce got the better of Despaigne not once but twice when these two faced off one another back in Cincinnati on June the 7th. He had a solo homer in the second, a 3-run shot in the 6th inning, so he drove in all the runs against Despaigne in that 4-0 Reds win to salvage one game of 3 against the Pods back at Great American.
May have noticed where those pitches were. They were well above the waist, out over the plate. Despaigne was a starter in the rotation back then. He has since lost his starting job, and he's in the bullpen. Odrisamer Despaigne was a Cuban professional player until he defected. He played for the Industriales in the Cuban National Series, and he ended up going on the Cuban national team. And while in Europe, he defected in the 2013 World Court Tournament. He became a legal resident of Spain, and then he ended up traveling to Mexico. And when he went to Mexico, that's when he had essentially a showcase from Major League Baseball. All the scouts that were interested in Despaigne showed up, and it was the Padres that ended up signing him to a minor league deal last year in May 2014. Came up through the system from there, and now he's in the major leagues. And I'm not sure, of all the different reasons why it was the Padres that signed Despaigne, but it is interesting to note that he has, when you take his first and last name, Odrisamer Despaigne, all the letters in his name necessary to spell out San Diego Padres.
Caught. Double play. Now I know that you didn't come up with that on your own, so don't try to sell that.
I've got a lot of free time on my hands.
Apparently. Wow. That may be the factoid of the year right there. There's no more lagniappe than that right there. A good line for you to drop on him as you're chatting with him tomorrow.
I'm sure he already knows it. That's what I'm saying. It might be one of the main reasons why he's here wearing a Pods uniform.
New center fielder Melvin Upton Jr. makes the catch on that ball, and so thanks to the double play, Reds have 3 and out in the 6th. at Great American Ballpark. The suite features an all-inclusive food and beverage package, flat panel TVs, luxury furnishings. Host your next group outing by calling the Reds Group Sales Department. Their number 513-765-7600, or you can visit reds.com/groups.
Have you been in that suite?
I have not.
That is some kind of suite. I mean, sweet. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's overused, but really nice room.
Axelrod back to work again here in the 6th inning. Gone 3 2/3 already. Working here in inning number 6. He retired the Padres in order in the 5th. And he's been able to, by and large, shut down this Padre offense.
Well, that was after Jed Jerko greeted him with a home run. The first batter that he faced when he came in had a runner on board left over from Michael Lorenzen, and that was promptly plated as Jerko went about 20 rows deep in left field.
He allowed the 3 unearned runs in the 3rd when the ball was misplayed by Frazier, which should have been the 3rd out of the inning on the ground ball, and then a throw in from Schumacher from left. The ball tipped off the glove of DeJesus along a 3rd run to score. He was charged with an error. Padres lead this game 11-3 here in the bottom of the 6th. And inevitably, although it's apropos here in San Diego, the wave has broken out. Walk to Jerko to start the bottom of the 6th inning. That will be Will Venable. Hey, we were talking earlier about Johnny Cueto, and you mentioned what did I think about it? I thought it was kind of off base by Brad Ausmus there. He said he's stopping. He's stopping when he turns and does the old Louis Tiant. I mentioned that to you today. You said everybody stops.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you change directions, if you turn your shoulders one way before you come back the other ways, you have to come to a complete stop. But you know, it may be sour grapes by Brad Ausmus, and then again, it might be something that Major League Baseball will eventually have to take a look at. But in the meantime, Cueto is going to continue to do that until someone tells him he cannot.
Schumacher under this ball, hit by Venable, and that's the first out.
And I think Johnny Cueto is good enough that he will be able to adapt to whatever the rule interpretation ultimately is.
That club that he joined, Kansas City Royals, now at 67-44. They won 4 in a row, going into action tonight.
They gave away hats. What was it? Johnny Cueto hat night last night with the Dreads. I thought I saw some pictures. Maybe it was just fans that came up with those.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I know that the mascot had a Kansas City hat with the Cueto Dreads.
Right.
And I thought there were a number of others as well, but they must have welcomed him in a big way when he threw that 4-hitter for his first home start.
For Cueto last night, Yordano Ventura tonight for Kansas City, a guy that the Royals, I think, are kind of hoping that Cueto will mentor a little bit with that Royals team, pitching against Detroit.
Well, actually, that game is already over, and the Kansas City Royals won 6-1 in that game, and Ventura went 6 innings of shutout baseball. Although he walked 6, Cueto did not walk anybody last night. Ventura's a young man that throws about 100 miles an hour.
Face the Reds over there. Yeah. Big series tonight. Started in St. Louis between the Cardinals and the Pirates. 5 games between the two at the day's beginning. Cardinals get 3 in the bottom of the 5th. Carlos Martinez, his 12th win, 4-3 St. Louis. Be on Fox Sports 1 returns this week with a doubleheader full of playoff implications as the Angels battle the Royals, the team we were just talking about. They lead the AL Central, followed by the Nationals taking on the Giants in a rematch of last year's NLDS. Coverage begins Saturday at 7 Eastern only on Fox Sports 1, streaming live Fox Sports Go. Cubs won today 6-3, trying to put some separation between themselves and the San Francisco Giants. They just swept the Giants 4. So the Cubs now have a 4-game in the loss column lead over the Giants for the second National League wild card spot. So the Giants are leading tonight 3-0. And to send Houston down to its 4th consecutive loss. That Houston team has really struggled in the last 3 weeks or so. Angels right on their heels. Texas not that far behind as well. Spear there by Dylan Axelrod. He'll get Amarista at first base to put an end to the bottom of the 6th inning. Pretty good work by the right-hander in relief here tonight. Brought to you by Honda. It was all San Diego early. They get 3 runs in the first inning. A 2-run single by Jed Jerko. The big blow there. In the second, they put up 5 times in the second inning. Big blow, a 2-run home run by Jerko. Earlier in the inning, a 2-run double by Yonder Alonso. There's the home run by Jerko. His 7th of the year. That came against Axelrod. 3 more in the 3rd inning and an 11-3 Padre lead here in the 7th. Tonight's Honda game summary. Despagne back to work here in the 7th. Chasing this ball. Good effort out there and left by Justin Upton. Can't reach it. Barnhart a double his last time. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Reds do have action now in their bullpen. Burke Badenhop is throwing. And another hit tonight for Tucker Barnhart, a line drive into right. So he's 2 for 3. And now Marlon Byrd will bat for Dylan Axelrod. Good effort by Axelrod in relief tonight of Michael Lorenzen. 4 2/3, 1 earned run. Keeping this thing from getting any uglier than it was in the first 3 innings. Bird at 244 at 19 home runs.
Now, while these two teams battle it out at 9:15 Pacific Coast time, back in New York, the Indians and the Yankees are in the bottom of the 16th inning. Up, ball game over. Indians just scored a run to win it 5-4.
Bird is a pinch hitter down on strikes. Now Billy Hamilton will bat. One good thing, you're watching baseball on the East Coast, you're a big fan of teams that are playing out here, you got to stay up awfully late, but all the other games by and large finish up right about when you're getting started, so you can kind of figure out what's going on standings wise when you're out here.
Well, you sure can, and if you're out here during the NFL football season, it seems like the NFL games come on during breakfast.
They do. It would be at what, 10 a.m. starts?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
9 o'clock with the pregame coverage.
Of course, you've already had a 5-mile run and a couple of sets of tennis in by then.
Heck yes.
I bet you're looking forward to the Western Southern Tennis Open coming up.
I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah. Big tennis fan. You have any favorites that you really want to see up there?
Yeah, I always like to see Federer. Get out there during the day, watch that, and come on down and work at night.
Why don't you have him come on down and visit us in the booth?
You know, I would love that. We had Ryan Harrison a couple of years ago do that. We were supposed to have Jack Sock, I think, do it a year or so ago. Jack's having a nice year this year, American tennis player. I think we were supposed to have Marty Fish one year also, but he was playing in Didn't think he was going to make the finals of the tournament leading into the Western and Southern, but he did, so he couldn't make it. Now you see that ball girl down there, reminds me of a couple of days ago. I think it might have even been Sunday that the girl, I think it was down the left field line, made a leaping catch when the Phillies were here. You remember that? Had a lot of national play. I take it you didn't see that.
I did not see that one.
One of the few major highlights that you don't catch.
Well, one of the few plays of that ball game when I went back and studied the tapes, did not happen to see that. Must have breezed right through the foul balls.
You don't know if those girls, if they rotate around, like maybe she's down the right field line tonight, or they don't work every series.
Well, I mean, they're pretty good with the glove. But not only, I mean, they must be celebrities out here because each of them has their own bodyguard sitting next to them there.
See, I'm not sure if it was her that made the play or if it was this one down the right field line. Not sure if she had the long blonde hair or that young lady. Billy trying to get on for the second time via base hit here tonight. He drove in a run back in the 5th. Cat and mouse going on here between Hamilton and Despagne. Hamilton gets ready. Despagne steps off. Despagne ready. Hamilton steps out. Double play ball. You don't get Billy very often, but he hit that ball sharply right at Amarista. And they double him up 6-4-3. Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and much more. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for all the details. Nighttime in San Diego, California. Reds down by 8. And they employ their third pitcher of the night. In from the bullpen comes the right-hander Burke Badenhop.
He's turned his season around. Badenhoff has a horrible month of April, but since that time he's thrown the ball well. In fact, he's become one of Brian's pitchers that he goes to in games that are very close, and sometimes in which the Reds are winning. Last 16 games, shutout baseball. Last run he's given up is before the 4th of July holiday.
A long stretch for him, a very good stretch. He gets a pinch hitter, Brett Wallace. Pinch hit in the game last night, was retired, and the same thing happens to him here today as he grounds out. 1 pitch, 1 out to start the bottom of the 7th. So the Padres will have a 3rd pitcher into this game. Remember, Brett Wallace was an Astro. We used to see him a lot playing for the Astros.
Well, he was the up and coming Astro star that could not miss type prospect that never did fulfill expectations. Big power hitting lefty. The power just never translated into the major leagues.
So 1 pitch, 1 out. Top of the order now in Solarte. We talked about the fact that the Padres added a new pitcher today. Bud Norris, a former Astro, former Oriole from the last year and a half. Released by Baltimore, signed as a free agent by San Diego, and he is in fact throwing now in the Padre bullpen. There he is. So they have the Norris boys on this team, no relation. DeJesus again with an opportunity, and there are 2 out. Pro Football Hall of Fame member Dan Deerdorf and Stephanie Schaefer welcome this year's Hall of Fame class to Canton with the Enshrinement Festival's Timken Steel Grand Parade. Tape-delayed coverage of the parade begins Sunday at 7:30. You can see it right here on Fox Sports Ohio, Canton, Ohio. Well, the pro football season is upon us. Alonso is going to go out 4-3, so a quick and easy 7th inning turned in by Burke Badenhoff.
Authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, as promised earlier in the game tonight, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. We invite you to tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan. Chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Here's tonight's Ohio Data Strong fan of the game. Hello, Joe. And hello fellow Bud Norris, the new pitcher into this game for San Diego.
Now 30 years old, originally drafted and signed by the Houston Astros. Bud Norris back in 2006. Reds saw him plenty when the Reds were heading down to Houston on a regular basis when the Astros were in the National League. See what he has done this season with the Orioles. Not much. 2-9 with an earned run average north of 7. He's had some pretty good years, though. Last year with Baltimore, he was 15-8. Brett Wallace takes over at third. He was also a 10-game winner for the Astros in 2013.
You gotta wonder how a guy goes from 15-8 with a 3.65 to a 7.06 ERA and released. That's what he's done the last 2 years, as Chris was talking about with Baltimore. Long way out there for Amarista, and the shortstop handles it. And Phillips is out.
You know, I guess the fact that the Padres would sign Bud Norris, and I mean, 30 years old, he might not be washed up. He may be just a guy that needs a little bit of a correction in his delivery. Maybe mechanics are wrong. Maybe a fresh start somewhere will be good for him. But, you know, it is an indication of where the Padres are from their farm system looking for. The Padres are going nowhere this year. They got an interim manager there. They're not sure what they're going to do with their pitching staff going into next year. But I wouldn't think that Bud Norris would be a guy that the Reds would even have considered signing, given the fact that all of a sudden they are flush with young prospects coming up through the minor leagues that can pitch. And I'm not talking about guys down in A-ball and AA. We're talking about AAA level pitchers and guys right knocking on the door being in the big leagues. So it's so refreshing to see the Reds pass on guys like Norris. I'm not trying to get on Norris, but I'm saying it's nice to see the Reds in a position where they don't just need arms and they go out and sign somebody who's washed up from somewhere else.
Fully agreeing with you and understanding where you're coming from with that. I imagine you have heard the same kind of chatter that I've heard, that the Reds may indeed go out, or at least explore the possibility next spring, of bringing in another veteran so they don't start the season with 5 rookies in the rotation.
Well, there won't be 5. Oh, you're right, because you're never really sure what the status of Homer Bailey will be at the end of spring training. You know, at this point, coming back from Tommy John surgery, even if he's a fast healer, I mean, you're not going to be 100% coming out of spring training. And I hope that they take him along slowly and they have realistic expectations of where he will be when he comes back and finally healthy.
Yeah, and you're right.
But I think it makes some sense to probably, supplement what you have. I mean, of all the starters that they have as possible guys that will fit in, not all of them have to be rookies. You're right. So I think that's probably something that we will see, is the Reds will fill in with a veteran so that Ryan Price doesn't have another situation where he's running out a rookie every night. It won't be a rookie, it'll be a sophomore.
Yeah, and next year they wouldn't be rookies.
Well, some of them might be, because we still haven't seen any of the 3 pitchers the Reds have received in exchange for Johnny Cueto, except in the minor leagues. And then you've got young pitchers like Robert Stevenson coming up. He may be major league ready by this time next year, or even earlier. We may see him as soon as sometime this fall. I mean, in September, that is.
Yeah, that was a subject that came up in Brian's office back in Cincinnati during the Cardinals series, and he held up a yellow legal pad and said, yeah, we've been charting it, what they did last year, what they're doing so far this year, where we predict them to be this year, and who's going to have to come up, or at least potential folks who are going to have to come up to give them some relief so they don't go over their innings number in 2015. So it's no lock that it's going to be all rookies throughout the remainder of this 2015 season for the Reds, although there was a note today in the Reds game notes that the Reds did make a move, and they traded Matt Bushman away, a fellow that they had signed as a free agent earlier this season. Votto strikes out. Second time he's fanned in this game. The rest go in order in the 8th.
Late this year, but defensively you can count on him every night. Last night, check this out, 26 miles per hour, went over 80 feet to get that ball last night, and then almost duplicated the same thing tonight. Look how much ground he covers out there, simply outrunning the baseball. 24 miles per hour, 70.6 feet. And Baseball America, as we showed you last night, came out with their best tools list. This is voted on by managers. And Billy Hamilton voted second best base runner, fastest base runner, and third best outfielder overall in the National League by National League managers, Andrew McCutchen and Denard Span. So defensively, flat out gets it done night in and night out. If he can ever hit for average or increase his on-base percentage, then obviously the Reds will be in business.
Interesting that he is listed as the second best base runner. I don't know that I see him. You know, he doesn't get on, as Jim mentioned, as much as Reds fans would like, that he is a bad base runner when he gets on. They must think that D. Gordon is just that much better.
I think they're trying to sell magazines.
Well, that's a player vote. I mean, sorry, manager vote.
Allegedly.
You've always been the suspicious one. Manny Parra into the game now for the Reds, their fourth pitcher, and Melvin Upton, who came in earlier to take over in center as Venable went to right. Bats for the first time. He got into the game last night as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and popped up. Brother played on opposite ends of the country for most of their careers. Melvin, then known as BJ, with Tampa Bay. Justin in Arizona. They came together the last 2 years in Atlanta. Now here in San Diego this year. Manny Parra, a couple stints on the Reds disabled list here in 2015. Smash right at DeJesus. Make sure you make your reservation today for the Front Gate Outdoor Luxury Suite at Great American Ballpark. The suite features an all-inclusive food and beverage package, flat panel TVs, and luxury furnishings. Host your next group outing by calling the Reds Group Sales Department. Hosted in the Front Gate Outdoor Luxury Suite. Call 513-765-7600 or visit Reds.com/groups. Parra on the DL earlier this year with a strained neck. Missed basically the entire month of May. And then more recently on the DL with a little bit of a left elbow issue. Missed just over 2 weeks. Since his return, he's appeared 3 times. Allowed 1 run in 3 innings. Working on the Upton boys. First Melvin and now Justin, and like Melvin, Justin thrown out by the shortstop to Jesus. Well, the finale of this series comes up tomorrow. It's an afternoon game. 3:40 Cincinnati time. Raisel Iglesias, boy, he's been pitching well, hasn't he?
He really has. He's been one of the bright spots. I mean, a lot of them have been bright spots. But especially Iglesias. I really enjoy watching him pitch because he's got such a flair and style about the way he goes about it.
He'll pitch tomorrow in the finale of this series against James Shields. Free agent signee in the offseason. Signed a big money 4-year deal with these Padres. And his name has been bandied about since the middle of July as a potential player who could be traded. He came out and said he'd rather stay here in San Diego.
If I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere today, now whether you can believe this or not, these reports, now's the time that teams try to sneak players through waivers so that they can clear a way for them to be traded. You have to get the waiver process done first. But James Shields was one that went through waivers, unclaimed by other teams, so there might be an opportunity for the Padres to move him to a team who would be interested.
Saw that myself. Toward the middle, Phillips cheating over that side will make the play. Throw out Jerko and a 1-2-3-8 by Manny Parra. Here on Fox Sports Ohio, Reds Live postgame brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Recap of this one. Interviews from the locker room. That's Reds Live postgame coming up right after this game tonight. And then tomorrow, early, remember, an afternoon game, 3:40 first pitch. That means 3 o'clock with Reds Live pregame here on Fox Sports Ohio, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Raisel Iglesias will get the baseball tomorrow. Boy, he's coming off 2 very good starts. One at home against Pittsburgh, and on this road trip, that very good outing against the D-backs.
Looking forward to seeing Raisel take the ball tomorrow. He's got a good knack for pitching. In addition to being able to control that first base side of home plate with both a breaking ball and a fastball. Hope he has a good outing tomorrow. The way the Reds are looking right now, they will need a good outing just to grab one of these 3 games against the Padres here at Petco.
They'll face James Shields tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Frank Garces, left-hander, comes in, 33rd game. He's only thrown 29 innings. He's somewhat of a matchup guy. Second year in the major leagues, only 25 years old.
We'll get Frazier, Bruce, and DeJesus. First three up in the 9th inning. Padres scored 11 in the first 3 innings. 7 of them charged to Lorenzen. Reds get 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. No scoring since then. We're in the 9th now. That one hammered but fouled by Frazier, who does have 2 hits tonight. He had been 1 for his last 21. Well under 200 since the All-Star break. But 2 for 3 tonight with a single, a double, and a run batted in. Barring a miraculous top of the 9th inning, the Reds will be trying to snap a 5-game losing streak out here in San Diego with the afternoon game tomorrow.
Ooh. Got one higher than that.
Now tomorrow for the Padres is throwback uniform day. I believe they're going to be wearing the colors that you used to wear.
The gold sanitaries and the white shoes.
I'm not sure if it's the gold sanitaries, is it, Steve? But it is the white shoes, huh?
That's the old throwbacks. Oh, those are some good-looking outfits. If I'd have known that, I would have brought my old uniform. There's the hat.
There's the hat.
Kind of looks like Raleigh Fingers sitting there.
It's not actually a bad-looking hat at all.
He's got the uniform underneath that jacket.
Mixing and matching there. He's got the uniform top on underneath. You see that?
Oh, boy!
A rocket by Frazier, his 3rd hit of the night. Home run number 28 for Todd, who's 3 for 4. And this is any indication, and it's good to see Frazier may be indeed back.
Hello, Todd Frazier. Well, we usually choose a strikeout for this special honor. But tonight, when you turn around a 91-mile-an-hour fastball and you hit it about 450, we'll call that our flamethrower. How about our not-so-flamethrower? Brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce.
Boy, that had a good sound, didn't it? Makes it 11-4. But there's a bright spot from this game tonight. It's that Frazier's bat appears to have returned.
You're right.
I don't think there's any question about it.
He's hit the ball hard nearly every time. He's got 3 hits to show for it. The real only question about this, we'll take another look at this, is whether this ball will leave a dent in the Western Metal Supply building.
Went right in the window. Frazier inching closer now to the 30 home run mark with number 28. 69 now runs batted in. And for Todd, he's now just 1 away from equaling his career best when he had 29 of them a year ago. He should surpass that and should surpass the 80 RBIs, which set a career mark for him last year also. DeJesus 0 for 3. They estimated that Frazier home run at 415 feet.
I estimated about 450. Whose estimate do you like better?
I like the fact that it cleared the wall. Alonso gets in the way of that line drive by DeJesus, so Tucker Barnhart. And the last shot at it for the Reds tonight. Good wood on that ball by DeJesus. Barnhart batting from the right side. Talked long time today in the clubhouse with Tucker Barnhart about switch hitting, and he slices one into right, and that's a hit. It's been a tough go for him from the right side this year. He only has had 3 hits and 28 at bats, but he gets one hit tonight. Now he has a 3-hit game. Jason Bourgeois is going to bat for Manny Parra. Second time this year that Barnhart has had at least 3 hits in a game. He had a career high 4 when he went 4 for 5 at home against the Twins on the 29th of June. 3-hit effort tonight by Tucker. Bourgeois, pinch hit blast, deep to left, and it's gone. Jason Bourgeois, a pinch hit home run. Reds have added 3 here in the 9th inning, and it's now 11-6. First pinch hit home run of the year by Cincinnati.
Good for Jason. Oh, yeah, he just, not the bat flip, but a little bit of crow hop right there. Yep, he knows he's got it. What a nice young man. Boy, a guy who was derailed by an injury in spring training, a broken shoulder blade. He's come back a long way, and nice to see him put a good swing on the ball like that.
First pinch hit home run of the career of Jason Bourgeois comes here in San Diego. Gives Bourgeois his first home run of the year. RBIs 5 and 6. So 11 early by the Padres, 6 late by the Reds, and it's still not over as Hamilton bats. A natural inclination. You get down early 11-0 as well. This team's going to roll over and die, but the Reds did not do that here tonight.
Well, they've had some bright spots. It's hard to say that in a game in which you're losing by a bundle. Brett Wallace unable to handle that, and it continues.
Hits are even in this game at 11 apiece. In fact, the Reds, if they're going to give that a hit. Well, they put a hit up on the board, but now they've changed it to an E5 on Wallace. So the hits will stay at 11 apiece. Hamilton reaches on the E5. First error of the game by San Diego. Back to the top of the order in Phillips. Trying to make a 3-hit night here for Brandon. Hamilton takes off and reaches second on defensive indifference. Monstrous home run by Frazier. Started this inning. 2-run pinch hit homer by Bourgeois. Now, yes, indeed, there is action in the Padre bullpen. Craig Kimbrell has to get up. Ball 4. Frank Garces will get a visit from the Padre dugout.
Looks like Balsley's doing the talking and Yonder Alonso is doing the interpreting. Frank Garces is from San Cristobal, Dominican Republic. Just to make sure the message was not lost in translation, Yonder laid it out there for him in Spanish.
Reds are one batter away from making this a save situation. 3 in, 2 on, 2 out. Skip Schumacher. And on once tonight via a walk and a sac fly in the 5th. Bats here in the 9th is the 8th man to come to the plate in this inning. And now 1 ball, 2 strike count. Alonso will take it himself, beats Schumacher to the bag. And the Reds have dropped the first 2 of this series. They fall last night by a run at 2-1. And they fall tonight by the final score of 11-6 to the San Diego Padres. So they will try to salvage 1 of the 3 games of this series here tomorrow afternoon. More when we come back from San Diego right after this.